Who wants a Pokemon battle? Dun, 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 dun. Today I'm bringing you a match versus, wait for it, Bleak the Snake 2K10. The Snake 2K10 actually not being in his name, I just decided to add it to make him sound way more badass. So he's going to lead off with his shiny Greninja against the 4 Armageddon, leading Ambipom here just because this stab technician fake out is going to hurt like a bitch. And then I know that I'm in KO range here, but if he's timid Greninja, he can outspeed me and probably kill me with a Hydro Pump. So I'm going to make a switch into Aegislash to take this water move. Even if he went for a Dark Pulse there, I am specially defensive Aegislash, so it would not have killed me. And here, I guess I could have gone into QRAM to take that a little bit better, but he had a safe switch into his Aggron, and I didn't want to give him that opportunity. So I expect he's going to go for a Dark Pulse to try and hit this Aegislash, which is why I actually go for the Flash Cannon, because if he's because he would have resisted my Shadow Ball. But he makes a switch into Charizard, which is a pretty good play on his part. It's always a pain in the butt whenever a Charizard is staring you in the face, because you never know, is it going to be Charizard X or Charizard Y. But either way, I'm sure he's going to go for a fire move to get rid of this Aegislash. So I go into Heatran, reveals the Charizard Y, and it's going to bring the sun out, nice and bright, harsh sunlight. And then I'm going to heat up that flamethrower, and then I'm going to protect, basically just to scout for the Earthquake. I usually always say don't use protect unless you know what the opponent's going to do, but in this case it was vitally important to know whether or not he was packing Earthquake, so I could know whether or not to just switch in Heatran safely on this guy the whole match. And it turns out he had Air Slash, so it paid off for me. And I know he's going to switch out, so I'm just going to take this opportunity to set up Stealth Rock, so the next time this Charizard comes in, he's going to take a significant chunk out of his HP. And I don't want to take the water move from this Greninja, so I'm just going to switch right on back into my Aegislash. And this Aegislash actually winds up being the MVP for my team in this match, pretty much. You're going to see this is not the conventional like Swords Dance set. This is substitute Aegislash, and I never see this in OU play on Showdown or anything, but I feel like it's really good for the meta, because you already have the Mind Games Pokemon and the ability to set up a sub whenever you predict the opponent to predict your King Shield. Just puts them in a really bad position. And so now I know this Greninja can't do anything. I'm pretty sure he doesn't have Dark Pulse at this point, or else he would have been using it by now. So I King Shield just to get a little HP back, and he winds up going for the U-turn and not getting his switch. And it actually is pretty hilarious that I lower his attack here, and now he definitely is not doing anything from the substitute. I think my opponent's getting a little flustered, trying to figure out how he wants to deal with this, because he's going to U-turn into his Charizard, actually. And Charizard's going to get chunked for 50% on the Stealth Rocks, and then just go down immediately to the Shadow Ball, which is probably not the best play. He should have gone for, I don't know, he should have left his Greninja in and tried to break my substitute, knowing it was going to die, because it's going to die on the Stealth Rocks coming in anyway. And then he could have brought in his Charizard safely after his Greninja went down to force out my Aegislash, but instead, now he's forced to fight this Aegislash behind a sub, which is never a position you want to be in. And he sends out his Mew, and I'm really confused why he would bring in a Mew on a Ghost type. Hello? But he shows me the Calm Mind, which I was really scared of, because even though I've got a super effective hit, Mew is definitely a very bulky Pokemon, and if it alternates between Calm Minds and recovers, he can basically force me to switch and outstall me. but I get a critical hit. Fortunately, I'm certain this crit mattered. I calced it, and it was only going to be doing about 50% after that Calm Mind. And then he could have got up another one and just recovered. And so in comes Tyrantrum. And here's where I kind of started playing like ass, because I had a 6-4 lead, and one of his Pokemon was going to die on re-entry to hazards anyway. So I kind of wasn't paying as close attention here. I should have used King Shield to lower his attack and get myself back into defense mode, so I could have taken that Ice Fang and still been left with a substitute into this 1v1 with the Aggron. But that's okay though. Now I'm just going to King Shield and get a little bit of HP back. And he's going to go for the Stone Edge, which surprised me. I thought he was going to Earthquake, but I was pretty sure if he was using Stone Edge on my Aegislash, then he didn't have Earthquake. I don't know. Aggron's not a Pokemon you see that often, so I wasn't exactly sure what he wanted to do. But I knew he does not have very good special defense at all, so I was going to be able to obliterate him with this Shadow Ball. Hung on with a little bit, and since he goes for a couple Stone Edges in this Avalanche, I'm pretty sure he doesn't have Earthquake. So I'm just going to King Shield for some health back and substitute, and then try to take him out with a Shadow Ball. But I made another pretty big goof, because my friend was over and telling me about the epic plays he was making on Showdown. So I actually was not paying attention to the text that said that he tried to Earthquake. Otherwise, I definitely would have not tried to set up a sub here. I would have just taken it out with a Shadow Ball. But now I definitely notice the Earthquake, which is whatever. I'm going to go for another King Shield just to get back a little bit more HP. And then I know I'm faster than this Aggron, so I could knock it out with a Shadow Ball. But that's not actually how I'm going to play it out. I'm going to switch into my Landorus, who's obviously immune to the Earthquake. That's going to put me in a better position when dealing with his Gengar, which is his last Pokemon besides his Greninja, which is going to die on the rocks anyway. So Aggron goes down, in comes Gengar, and I really don't know what he was doing here. Maybe he thought that I was choice locked and gonna switch out, which is why he went for Dazzling Gleam, or maybe it was just a misclick. But the Psychic is going to definitely knock this Gengar out in a one-hit KO. And then in comes Greninja, and he just obviously is going to die to rocks. So that was a good match, and that's pretty much it for this video. Comment, rate, subscribe, and all that gay shit. Deuces.